Deadpool, of course. Okay, so that's what we're gonna talk about. I know I said I was gonna talk about like red pill and issues with black masculinity. Wanted to take just a little quick break to talk about something fun. um, because Tuesdays, like I said, for most people, Wednesdays is a grind. I don't know why Wednesdays is a grind for so many people. For me, it is Tuesdays. I don't like Tuesdays. I like Wednesdays. Wednesdays means you're halfway through the work week. I don't like Tuesdays. You, the reason I don't like Tuesdays, guys, is because there's nothing significant about it. It's not the first day of the week. It's not the middle of the week, and it's not the end of the week. So that's why it sucks. It's like if it's like Monday's the start of the week, so you realize. So I don't get the. I know a lot of people hate Mondays. I don't because I recognize Monday for what it is. It's the beginning of your grind, right? I don't mind that. It's Tuesdays. Tuesdays is like you already began the grind, but you're still at the beginning of the week. You're not even towards the middle yet. So I don't mind Tuesdays. Like if I worked somewhere where it was like hybrid, remote hybrid office situation, and you could choose which days not to work, it would be like Mondays and Tuesdays. Monday would be optimal because for me, it would be because then it cleaves the week where you go. So now in the beginning of the beginning of your grind is on Tuesdays, at least as far as commuting and doing all that sort of stuff. But because I hate Tuesdays, I might just start that grind on Monday, have that day Tuesday to work remotely, and then get back into the grind Wednesday. I would I would do either one of those, but I wouldn't take Friday. A lot of people choose to work remotely Fridays so they don't have to go to work. I get it, but Fridays don't bother me because it's literally the end of the work week, so I'm done. Like Friday, I'm already done. Why do people keep asking me what's my favorite color? That's weird. It has nothing to do with my topic today. Don't really have a favorite color. That was not the topic. My You've seen the topic when you clicked on it. It says Deadpool and Wolverine. So anyway, I'm gonna get right into the topic, which is, guys, Deadpool and Wolverine is awesome. I know the only criticism I saw of the movie from film critics was that the plot could have been tighter. It's an action movie. Like, how tight do you need a plot for an action movie? It it fell together at the end. That's all I cared about. It fell together, and it was awesome. Were the cameos. Yes, um, it was the perfect culmination of the previous Deadpool movies. Not to mention all the Fox Marvel movies with everything that built up to Endgame. Not to mention making fun of everything that was a mess with the MCU multiverse saga. Like all of that came together in a perfect melody. And where do you go from there? Like I said, I this is probably the last. I already told my wife this is probably the last superhero movie I'm going to watch for a long time in the theaters. I might see some on my Fire Stick watching it for free when it hits digital, but I am not going to why are you flooding my are you fucking retarded? Why are you fucking like flooding my chat room? I'm about to time you out. You need to get fucking you need to go to betterhelp.com and get some fucking help. Fucking retard. Anyway, um, no, I've never played Roblox, Jay Thorne. That's for kids. I'm 47. Like, no. Kanye West, do I like him? Not anymore. His music is kind of trash now. His music hasn't been good for like I'm gonna say at least 16 years. Um, and he needs mental help. He's bipolar. He says dumb shit, and people are supposed to feel sorry for him. Fuck him. I will never care about a celebrity's well being because they're in a strata that most people can only dream of. Fuck him. Fuck Kanye. Anywho, no, it's not. What are you referring to? MCU movies, Elijah? Um, anywho, while you specify on that, yeah, I think it's gonna be the last good MCU movie for a long time, if ever. I'm not wowed by them bringing back Robert Downey Jr. to play Doctor Doom. To me, that just struck of desperation that they had to bring him back just to get people mildly excited about an MCU film going forward. It's struck of desperation, and that's how most people who actually critically think thought. On top of that, to me, it's going to destroy his legacy as Iron Man, seeing him now as a bad guy. Like unless there's going to be a flip where, well, they are known for like subverting expectations. So we'll see where he can actually be a a anti-hero. They might do that sort of thing, like subvert expectations, make him as Doctor Doom either a variant of Doctor Doom who's actually an anti-hero, or make the main version, the main version of Doctor Doom into some sort of anti-hero. Either way, it, it I think it's going to destroy his legacy as Iron Man. Like, and by the way, this is spoilers going for. So if you haven't seen Deadpool and Wolverine, I'm sorry, but I've literally just saw it today, despite having all the spoilers for the last 3 months, and I haven't given away, even though I've known most of the big things. Well, not most of the big. I knew most of the cameos and stuff that was happening in the movie. I didn't talk about that stuff on my live stream for 3 months, but I have seen it in the theaters, and it's October now, and it came out in July. I think it's safe to spoil it because the big the big YouTube channels like Nerdist.com and all those other places, they have no problem spoiling that stuff like the week of of a film releasing. I don't do that. I think that's terrible. So I would never do that. But like, it's October, so spoilers going forward for anyone who doesn't want spoilers about Deadpool and Wolverine. So bringing back Chris Evans as his original character as Johnny Storm in the Fantastic Four from the 2000s was just oh so perfect. And it was funny because a lot of people, like my friend, wasn't used to seeing a shit talking Chris Evans, and I was like, yeah, he was a shit talking person in the Fantastic Four films because Johnny Storm was always like this cocky guy who talked a lot of trash, similar to like Spider Man and so forth. Because they were both around the same age, they were both teenagers, and they both like to talk shit. So it was nice to see that reprised. That was an awesome cameo, and that bringing him back as that character because that didn't destroy his legacy as Captain America for the fact that one, that it was comedic, and two, for the fact that he was originally Johnny Storm before he was Captain America anyway. So reprising his earlier role doesn't destroy his legacy as Captain America, but bringing Robert Downey Jr. back as Doctor Doom, I think is going to destroy his legacy as Iron Man. So that's one reason I'm not excited about him coming back as that character, and not excited about these new Avenger films. But also, I'm not excited because they haven't announced who are going to be the heroes of this new Avengers team. All the people who are left kind of suck. I mean, Hulk is still there, but he's been like castrated. Like no one wants to see smart Hulk anymore. He's weak. He's whack. We wanted to see world. We wanted to see world world breaker Hulk, and we're never going to see him because the little soy boy who plays Hulk is perfectly fine with him taking a backseat role to women. So again, I'm not gonna say that. I was gonna wait. No, no, I ain't gonna say. So fuck the MCU. It's whack now. The multiverse saga sucks. This whole woke shit with all the most powerful characters being women now sucks. Um, the, all the legacy characters gone sucks. Like I don't see them unless they pay a shit ton to Chris Evans and these other folks to come back and play their characters in the new Avenger films for when they do secret wars. I don't see like you're gonna have the Doctor Doom Avengers film, right? Then you're gonna have Secret War at the end, and they brought the only thing I loved was the fact they brought back the Russell brothers for these two new Avengers films because the Russell brothers said back in 2019 they would come back to do Secret Wars because they wanted to do that. That's the only thing they got right. But still, even though they're bringing back the Russell brothers, I need to know that there's some legacy heroes there. Like there's okay, so there is one legacy hero still there, Spider Man. He's the only one I'm excited about. And let me change this chat filter here. See if I missed anything worth responding to. Oh, John, I didn't catch this. John Bristers, what's up? He says, "How you feeling tonight?" I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Saying hello to you, John from Brooklyn. What's up going on in the BK, John? I'm doing all right. Um, I had fun finally to see Deadpool and Wolverine 3 months late, but better late than never. Saw the film, and like I said, I'm scared that this is gonna be the last good MCU film. But maybe some of you in the chat can convince me otherwise. Why I should still be excited for the MCU going forward? Because I don't see any reason why I should. Uh, Looking through the comments, guys. Leon's channel says, "Have you seen Deadpool and Wolverine movie?" Yeah, that's what I'm talking about it today because I finally saw it today, literally like 2 hours ago. I saw it, finished watching it 2 hours ago in a really good AMC theater. I signed up for the AMC Stubs membership. Again, guys, I'm not being sponsored by AMC or any people I mentioned. When I mention stuff, it's just genuinely because I like it. So don't think I'm shilling for anyone. Now, if AMC definitely wants to throw a brand connect to me or sponsorship, I would willingly take it. But just know that I have no sponsorships. I have no brand connects right now. So any company or firm or logo or IP that I mention, which I like, I'm mentioning it purely because I actually like them, not because I'm being paid to do so. If I'm being paid to talk well on some firm or company, I'll have to put it in my video paid promotion, and I'll tell you guys as well. I'm pretty blunt, okay? But yeah, the AMC Stubs membership is worth it. Um, I haven't paid so little for a movie since the '90s, guys. Like with my AMC uh, points, because this is the first time I used it. Plus going to a matinee on I paid less than $10 for the movie, and that was including with popcorn. So I bought a small popcorn with my movie, which was a matinee, and my AMC stub membership points. I paid only $9.81 US for people internationally. That's US dollars, $9.81 for movie and popcorn. I haven't paid that little since the 90s, guys. And I didn't even use my military ID. I could have used that as well. That would have dropped it even more. And honestly, the only reason I didn't use my military ID is because I forgot. Because I would have definitely used it. But it was less than $10. I can't complain for an awesome movie. Um, but anyway, so that gets me back to my point. And while I do that, I'm gonna break open some fruit snacks, guys. Not because I'm frustrated like last night. We're gonna talk about last night on another at another time. But yeah, got my fruit snacks. Again, not getting paid by Welch's. I just love these fruit snacks. So, anywho, see if I can position this here while I snack on my fruit snacks. And for people who don't know, I'm back in my original home, no longer at my grandmother's. So, some of you want to see my collectibles, let me know. I have more of my collectibles here. Almost all of my collectibles are here except for the ones at my actual factual home in the Philippines in Bulacan. Bulacan is a province adjacent to Metro Manila. Actually, where we live in Bulacan is less than a less than a half an hour away driving wise from Metro Manila, from the closest city in Metro Manila. Metro Manila is not a city; it's a megapolis comprised of like 20, I believe, 26 cities and one municipality. And the closest city within Metro Manila, close to where I live in Bulacan, is Quezon City, which is actually the largest city within Metro Manila. You would think Manila is, because there's the city of Manila within Metro Manila, but that's not actual the biggest city um, per capita. Per capita, the biggest city is Quezon City, and there's so many different districts within Quezon City. Like Quezon City is like almost a city, a it's almost a mega city within itself because you have like little mini you have like different towns and districts within Quezon City. Quezon City was once the capital city of the Philippines and then it moved to Manila. So now the city of Manila is the capital city of both Metro Manila and of the country itself. So all of Metro Manila is also called the National Capital Region. So if you ever hear people referring to the National Capital Region and Metro Manila, as far as the Philippines is concerned, they're talking about the one in the same place. Their National Capital Region and Metro Manila are coterminous regions. Okay, sort of like if you're from New York City, like my guy here, John Brister is, you know that the five boroughs are also coterminous with five counties of New York, like New York County and the Manhattan borough are coterminous, right? Richmond County is coterminous with Staten Island, right? Queens Queens County and the Queensboro are coterminous with each other, obviously, right? Um, Kings County and Brooklyn are coterminous with each other. Um, Bronx County and Bronx Borough are coterminous with each other. So same thing with like Metro Manila and the National Capital Region of the Philippines. They're coterminous regions. These are delicious, by the way. So, like, I lost a lot of my audience. That's fine. If I if I don't have more people on, I'll just end this. I was hoping my friend Moonlit Fern would come on because he's been wanting to talk about this movie for so long, and I asked him not to because it was still too early. I didn't want to spoil it for other people in the chat room at the time because this was like literally back in late July. He wanted to like late July, early August. He wanted to talk about it. And the movie had only been out for like a week or two. And the funny thing is, I was supposed to see it the very week it came out for free. I had because there's a theater here in Baltimore County. There was letting people see it for free because it was a way of them promoting their uh their cinema. And I the at the time before I was about to go to the movie, I had assumed that I was going to be able to watch it with some other folks, and I couldn't find anyone. So I was like, all right, well, I'll just go on my own. I'll just jump on the bus and go see it. Then I looked at the because it was so close to where I live. It was driving what like driving wise, it was like less than 15 minutes away. But when I looked at the bus route took over an hour to get there, like an hour 20 minutes or so to get there, and the movie was starting within a half an hour. I'm like, oh shit, I'm gonna miss the beginning. I'm like, all right, well, forget it. And then I just never. Then every following week when I say I was gonna go see it, other things came up. But again, I'm not mad because I paid less than $10 to go see it. I paid like without the popcorn, I think it was like what $7, almost $7 to see it without the popcorn. So not bad. And with even with the popcorn, it was still less than $10. But can we discuss how awesome this movie is? And I'm hoping one of you can convince me why I shouldn't see this as the end of the MCU, other than the fact that the Russell brothers are directing the next two Avengers movies. But I'm not going to go see Captain America in the movies. I'm going to watch it, but I'm going to wait till it hits digital and watch it for free on my Fire Stick. I'm not. It's nothing exciting looking at the trailer of the new Captain America movie, A Brave New World, that makes me want to go see it. I like Falcon, but as Captain America, it's nothing exciting about him as Captain America. Like if they wanted to get people excited, they would have thrown Chris Evans a shit ton of money like they did for Deadpool and Wolverine to have him come back and do a cameo as Steve Rogers. And this is my personal opinion here, right? I think they should have they should have used the movie as a way of showing all Falcon's virtues that made Steve pick him to be his successor. And they kind of they kind of fumbled the bag with that back when they made the MCU Disney Plus show, um, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. They could have used that series to reassure the fan base of, look, we're passing the torch on to Falcon to be the new Captain America, but here's why. Look at how great this guy is. Why Steve Rogers chose him to be his successor you know, instead instead of the Winter Soldier. But they really didn't do that. They spent too much time doing other dumb shit in that show. These are so good. You said you stopped coloring your hair. I haven't dyed my hair in 3 years. So yeah, if I'm going out, then I'm gonna diet. But I haven't gone out. Like when I start traveling again, then I'm gonna diet. But here, I have no reason to. It only looks more gray right now because of the backdrop. Depending on my background, it's gonna look more or less gray. But I haven't colored my hair for 3 years. Besides, why should I have to? I'm in better shape than Gen Zers for half my age. I run somewhere between 10 and 13 kilometers every single day. Every single day. On top of that, doing martial arts, going to the going to the gym. I'm in better shape than most people half my age. Why should I have to dye my hair? Bitch is still jock. I'm not even joking. Like I get looks in the gym. So and low key, a lot of the younger women find the gray hair sexy. They like that Reed Richards look. Philanthropist and stuff, brother. How you doing? I'm doing all right, man. What's going on? So, guys, I think I'm gonna add some new stuff to my collectibles while we're talking. So, you guys, I think you've seen when I had the bought the Happy Meal about 5 weeks ago. They released, which was like a fusion. They this was clever. Like they did a fusion of Hello Kitty and Yu-Gi-Oh, right? Because of that, I've just ordered um on eBay a few days ago a Dark Magician card, which was Yugi's favorite card, the Dark Magician. But I ordered a first edition copy, and I got it cheap because the person selling it, I think it was a card that's been like opened and played before. So I got it for less than $10. That seems like a running theme today, right? Less than $10. I might have to make a like some sort of like gag or video about that one day. But yeah, so I found this on eBay for less than $10. It's a first edition Yu-Gi-Oh! Dark Magician card. Um, and I noticed my niece has some Hello Kitty stuff from her old Happy Meals from like I'm gonna say about 9 years ago. So originally I was gonna see if I could sell these, but I don't believe they're gonna buy those at Third Eye buyback bargains. I think they only want like action figures, like the action figures, the comic statuettes. What's up, Officer Lumen? What's going on, bro? You said how? No, you're not late. Anytime you can make it is fine with me. You know what I'm saying? I appreciate it. You saw I had to manhandle that guy yesterday who was talking trash. Like he spent 40 minutes trying to lecture me on Trump and on Roe versus Wade, and I had enough of him. Like then he tried to Officer Lemon, he tried to pull, well, I'm a physician out his ass to make me seem impressed. I was like, dude, you going to medical school has no impact on your skills of reasoning because you don't have them. I told him like, fuck you being a physician. I don't care. I said personally, I said you're so bad at reasoning, I would never come to see you as my doctor. Like he tried to tell me that unless contraceptive is 100%, it's not effective. Like you're a whole fucking doctor and you can't realize that contraception doesn't have to be 100% for it to be effective. I was like, dude, if I was like, if you had an 88%, if someone told you you had an 88% chance of winning the Mega Millions today if you played the lottery, would you not play it because it's only 88%? 88%, you're pretty much guaranteed to win. Or I said, or I put it even into a medical terms for him. If I was like, if someone had an 88% of surviving like terminal cancer, if they're willing to undergo a medical procedure, wouldn't it be well worth them undergoing that procedure? Like that's fucking ludicrous. Why would you say it's 100%? Like no, there's science and medicine doesn't require absolute certainty for effectiveness because that's not how the real world works. Absolute certainty is only something dealt with in the formal sciences like logic, math, and data science. So he was fucking dumb. So I timed him out. So he might come back today, and if he starts with some dumb shit, I'm gonna time him out again, or you can time him out. Uh, Hundo says, "How do you recover after a long run?" Well, one after you should always stretch after a run, right? Stretch, uh, strength training. Strength training reduces your improve makes you less injury prone if you strength train. Like most runners have some sort of strength training regimen. So I hit the gym like 2 or 3 times a week, right? Also, I do like like push ups and sit ups generally every day. Not almost not every day, but almost every day I do like push ups and like push ups, sit ups, and flutter kicks. So calisthenics, right? So strength training, stretch, stretch after every run. And another thing, don't stretch before a run. Stretching before a run actually makes it more likely for you to injure yourself. So don't stretch before a run. Stretch only after a run. If you're gonna warm up before a run, do some sort of dynamic flexibility, but don't stretch before a run because it's gonna actually increase your chances of injuring yourself. Okay. So stretch after every run, include strength training in your regimen, and the day after a long run. So like I do 10, 11, 12 kilometers every day. So for me, that's my normal run. But if I were to do like more than that, like say if I'm gonna do a 10-mile run, which is 16.1 kilometers, or if I'm gonna do a half marathon, which is like 21 kilometers, then the next day I do a recovery run. So a recovery run is a shorter run, a shorter, slower run. So maybe if you run like a half marathon, the next day you can do a recovery run of like 4 or 5 kilometers, right? 5 kilometers is roughly like 3 miles. So to get over a long run, you do a recovery run, okay? Strength training. And oh, and I almost forgot this protein. A lot of protein. After long run, treat yourself to something. Uh, a burger, steak, some chicken, whatever, something high protein. So that's pretty much it. Uh, also, since I was dealing with so much drama, I'm guessing you talking about why you were uh at work, right? I already know how crazy it is out there in New York. I was just you ain't even tell me, Austin. So now you got that Venezuelan gang, the Trend whatever, Trend Gaga, whatever they call themselves, are sitting there. They're becoming a nuisance in Manhattan now, like down in Times Square. Austin says, "Wait, one time I knew a guy who bought 100 lottery tickets and lost. I think he only got $40 or something. Yeah, it makes sense because you know why? Because like that's funny because I actually bought a Mega Million ticket today. And I was telling my friend that when they're going to make the Mega Millions $5 starting in April of next year, April 2025. I said when they make the Mega Million $5, I'm no longer playing it because it's not worth it. And when I bought the ticket today, the girl was like, "You only want one?" I was like, "Yeah, just one." I was like, I said, "I don't think buying two is going to help me." She just laughed. She was cute too. I don't know if she was Indian, Latina. She might have been Nepali. I don't even know. She was really cute. But anyway, it buying 100 tickets aren't going to help you. The pro the funny thing is to actually have a statistically significant better chance at winning the lottery by buying multiple tickets. The amount of tickets you would have to buy, you probably would be would be by someone who probably doesn't need the lottery in the first place, because they will literally take buying like tens of thousands, like tens to hundreds of thousands of tickets to have a statistically significant higher chance of winning just by playing multiple tickets. So it's literally not worth it. So get to like so the Mega Million is $2, right? To have like a statistically significant chance of winning it higher than just by random chance, you have to buy like say about 100,000 tickets, right? Which is $200,000. So if you already have $200,000 to waste playing the Mega Millions, then you probably don't even need to play it, to be honest. But buying 100 tickets aren't going to change your odds at all. You might win the little ones, like the ones that's like $2, something like that, but it's not going to really increase your odds that much. Not in a, it's not going to increase your odds um, in a statistically significant margin. Santa Claus says, "Hi, what's up, Santa? I have to send you my list." Also, Lima says, "I do remember my older brother who did 100 push-ups every day, no matter what, while I was studying and working at McDonald's." Yeah, you can definitely do 100 push-ups every day because it's calisthenics, so it's not going to cause you that muscle fatigue where you will have to rest because you can quickly acclimate to doing 100 push-ups. Because some days I do 100 push-ups if I'm doing standard push-ups, but I usually do either one arm push-ups or plyometric push-ups. Uh, Luma says, "Oh, speaking of which, there was a Mexican woman throwing burritos at one of my coworkers. Tell me this is not the same place you got burritos from several weeks ago. Why is she throwing burritos? Was she like flipping out? Did someone piss her off? Was he trying to get a number? Like, what? Why is she throwing burritos and wasting delicious food?" Real life philanthropist, excuse me, real life philanthropist says that guy put me on a timeout. I was just trying to be funny with the drama queen comment. I don't know if it was offensive. I didn't want to sound offensive. No, no, you're good. Just Officer Lehman was just being zealous on his job. uh, Philanthropist says, "How long was it, by the way, just so that I know when to go back to the other account?" All right, hold on, I gotta check. I wait, can I see it? Six 600 seconds. Is that what it says? Nope. I think it says 600 seconds. So if you want to divide that by hours, but it's all good, bro. Um, it's all good. So anyway, what I was saying. So since I have the Yu-Gi-Oh fusion of Hello Kitty and the Dark Magician, so I bought the eBay Dark Magician card, the first edition from the 90s. I think no, was it the 90s? See, I think Yu-Gi-Oh came out here in America in the the 2000s, because I remember the cartoon coming out in like 2001. That's what I remember, the cartoon 2000 2001. But when you look at the copyright, Yu-Gi-Oh first started in 96, which is like I didn't know it was that far back. That's like back when Pokemon first came out, the game. But the cartoon, like with I know Pokemon cartoon didn't come out to like 98, 99 here in America. But the Yu-Gi-Oh, it might have came out at the same time. I just remember like around 2001 talking about it with a friend of mine, and I was like, "Yo, Yu-Gi-Oh doesn't make any sense." I was like, they're just literally making up rules as they go along. He was like, "Yeah, I know." He started laughing, And so I asked some other people who are like Yu-Gi-Oh fans recently. They was like, yeah, back during the first season, he said they didn't even have a card game made up yet. He was like, so they were just kind of just making things up as they go along. I was like, oh, so I'm not tripping on that. He said, no. He said, you're not. I was like, okay. So I don't get how it came out in 96 when I don't remember seeing the cartoon till at least 2000, 2001. But since that was a Happy Meal thing, I was going to add these Happy Meal things to it as well. So this Hello Kitty stuff from my niece that she bought, that she was given 9, 10 years ago. I don't think these are vintage enough to get me any money at the at the buyback store for the comic book place I go to. Philanthropist says it's okay. He's out. Wait, haha. Yeah, my bad, bro. Officer Limit says also basically my coworker was trying to order a burrito from my favorite burrito spot. Also, so it is your spot. Okay, I thought so. He said the lady seemed intoxicated and was drunk, so she spit on my coworker's burrito and gave it to me. Oh, ew, that's disgusting. Nah, I wouldn't even trust going back there again because if she's gonna do that openly, you don't know what they're doing behind. When you can't see them making the food. That's that's disturbing. Besides that could get them, if you really wanted to, you could get them shut down for that because that's a isn't that like a health violation? When like if you see like a food server doing that, can't that get them shut down temporarily for like health code violations? He said then he called her a bitch, so he put the burrito in the trash, then she threw burritos at him. Then I showed up 5 minutes later, tased her immediately. Dang. Ooh. She's like, hola. That's not funny. Actually, no, yes, it is, but damn. You had to taser? Man. Pussy that bad, man? No, I'm just joking. Nah, having a Harlem Nights moment. I don't know if you ever watched Harlem Nights when Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy, Rich, and he went to go see the woman that he liked, this Creole chick played by Jasmine Guy, who played Whitley back in Different World, the TV show. And Richard Pryor, who plays like his father in the movie, he, he's like, yo, so how was it? He said, yo, I shot her, man. He said, damn, the pussy that bad, man? He said, no, I mean, I actually shot her. So, but uh, Officer Lemon says she has to pay $100,000 for health reasons. Yeah, and I think she needs to get some counseling too. He said 10 minutes later she called me a perv, and so I tased her again. Yeah, I think she has some mental health issues. Like I said, I think there are a lot of people in the hood. That one of the reasons the hood is so bad is not just poverty, but I think over 90% of the people in the hood have uh, have mental health issues that are undiagnosed or untreated. So that's crazy. But speaking of crazy, I'm about to open up another bag of these um, fruit snacks. Landry says, by the way, interesting is like the casino but healthier. Oh, he said, by the way, investing is like the casino but healthier. Quote, oh, so it's like casinos but for Christians. It's for Jews. Something my mind just dropped to me. That's really random. Officer Limit says, now I got paperwork to do on January 1st. Uh, 2025. Damn. On New Year's? Well, guess you won't be watching the ball drop. Even though I know most New Yorkers don't go to Times Square on New Year's anyway, they kind of avoid it. Same thing in Manila. I was hard headed, and I told my wife I wanted to go to Manila Bay on New Year's, which is like the main spot people go, uh, equivalent to like Times Square on New Year's. And she was talking about how crowded it was going to be and hard to get out of the place. And she was right, but it was worth doing it just for the experience. But any other New Year's going forward, I'm not going. If I go anywhere, it won't be that. It won't be to Manila Bay. It was just too crowded down there. I like to do Thailand for New Year's next time. Um, but yeah, that sucks, man. I guess that won't be your favorite burrito spot anymore. I'm guessing. Might have to switch to Chipotle. Well, what's the other one that's like Chipotle? Uh, something fresh or fajita. What's it? I forgot what it's called. But that place is just like Chipotle. I remember when it came out, they were trying to entice people to check them out on my campus, on the campus of my alma mater. They were giving out free samples, free burritos to compete with um, Chipotle, which had opened there like 3 years prior, and because Chipotle was what that was like when Chipotle first opened up, so it was a huge deal on campus back in like I think it was like 2001. And so that its rival, I forgot the name of it, opened up there like 3 4 years later. And I tried. I'm like, yo, this is just like Chipotle. Luma says I have bad memories from last year because my son painted my Corvette paint and wrote gay. What? Yo. He said I don't know how he got it. Plus the paint was permanent. Man, that's that's bananas. Put that in New York terms. It sounded like from everything you said about him, honestly, uh, and I know you've talked about this before, but it seemed like he needs to go back to counseling because I'm guessing he has some unresolved issues as far as maybe his mom and you and his current situation. Like, there's some unresolved issues there. And with minors, when they have clinical depression or major depression, it's not exhibited the same way as it is in adults. I know because I've been diagnosed with depression when I was 13 years old, but it doesn't manifest the same in juveniles as it does in adults. The way their depressive episodes happen, it can it can often be through like through like defiance to to parents and stuff like that, and sort of like antisocial behavior, but they're not necessarily people who are going to have antisocial personality disorders. What's more likely the case is this is how they exhibit depressive symptoms in juveniles. So, but yeah, I strongly think you might want to get him into some cognitive behavioral therapy. That's what I would suggest. Because that's, yeah, once it's like he's doing this to you, but if this was to anyone else, this would be criminal behavior, right? If if this wasn't to an immediate family member. I mean, it's actually still kind of criminal, but when you're family, you're not going to usually press charges against your child for things like that. You rather, punish them. But this sort of behavior, if unchecked, gets worse because he's not learning um, how to properly express his discontent, right? Because we're always going to be the, the, the a successful adult isn't someone who's always happy. A successful adult is someone who their manages their problems in in more effective ways. We hit the gym. Uh, Sometimes we hit the bar and go for a few drinks with buddies, not people who just hang out in the bars by themselves. That's not good. That's a toxic mix. But no, people who might go out socially, drinking with others, go to the gym, get get involved in that. So that's the other thing. Get involved in groups stuff. He said I cooked food. I cooked. Luma says I cooked food last night, and he threw the food in my face and called me an old boomer. And I would be insulted just for the fact he called you a boomer because you're not older than me. You're like in your 30s, so you're a millennial. Yeah, to me, calling anyone a boomer who's not a boomer is an insult because no, to me they're like the worst generation. Like they're called the sociopathic generation for a reason. Um, he said, Luma says I treat him like a king, but he treats me like shit. I've tried everything, but nothing will. I think part of the problem is that you treat him like a king. That's not what you should be doing. You know what I mean? I, like I said, so here's two suggestions from me, Luma. One is he needs to be in some sort of counseling, right? Because if this is left unchecked, it's going to get him into legal problems later, or he's just going to be socially maladjusted, right? That's one thing. The second thing is the way the older folks, the boomers, or the guys or the parents from the silent generation dealt with problematic kids. They put them in, in groups to focus that energy. This is why we had the Boy Scouts and other sorts of groups for for boys back in the day. Now you can't send them to Boy Scouts because now it's integrated with the girls, so that's going to make them pussies. But no, the other thing is they used to send their kids to military school. If, if you, if you have the financial means, you might want to consider it. If you think it's that like cognitive behavioral therapy alone isn't going to do the trick, I would advise start looking at military schools. There's still some around. They'll get them straight. In military school, they don't care. They don't care about your feelings. You better, straighten up. He said, I know, but back in my day, my father had one job, and uh, that's to whip my ass for anything out of order. He said, I don't want to be like my father or my mother. I want to be a loving, caring father. Yes, but so here's the thing: there's different types of parenting. You're you're thinking that you're either authoritarian or you're loving. There there's other type of parenting styles in between. There's authoritative, which is not authoritarian. Authoritative parents are loving but stern. This is why a lot of this is a lot of parenting styles of Asians. This is why their kids are so much successful. They don't put up with their kids shit. They don't care what their kids want. They tell their kids what they're gonna do. At 5 years old, no, you're taking music lessons. But I don't wanna. I don't care. They don't care what their kids want. they, as the adults, make the decisions. They don't leave it up to what their kids want to do. That doesn't mean they don't love their kids, but they're stern with them. This is why Asians outperform almost every other group because of the parenting style that their parents use. At least first generation Asians. Third, fourth generation, they start acting like all other Americans. But Asian parents who are fresh off the boat tend to have a more authoritative parenting style. And that's not the same as authoritarian, like beating their ass and you know, like being abusive and cussing them out. And that's a different that sort of authoritarian style that's heavy on punishment. That doesn't work. And we've known that it doesn't work since the 50s because of uh, behavioral like when B.F. Skinner worked on operant conditioning and stuff like that. Like it, that harsh punishment style doesn't work. That's authoritarian. But the whole loving and tender type parent, that doesn't work either because kids need structure. So the evidence falls to having a more authoritative style. So like I said, we're already past that point now because your kid is already an adolescent. So like I said, I would get them into some sort of cognitive behavioral therapy um, quickly. And if that doesn't do the trick, then you might need to look into putting them into some sort of military like, academy. But that sort of behavior is not a is complete is definitely inappropriate. And like I said, you might see if he's interested in some sort of sport or something to spend that energy somewhere positive, like baseball, football, basketball, soccer, hockey, MMA, wrestling. He needs to get involved with something outside of himself. Too many people are miserable because they spend all of their energy thinking about themselves instead of others. Philanthropist says, I'm back. I'm having problems with my internet. And no problem. Let me say this. I still have my dad's old leather limited edition belt from the good old days. Not the, not the limited edition. I got spanked by my mom when my father and I got into it. Like it was like fist fights. Philanthropist says, by the way, man, talking about age, how old are you? No offense. Some people get offended sometimes. I'm pretty sure you asked me that before, but yeah, I'm 47. So, um, oh, fruit snack time. But yeah, Officer Lumen, like I said, I know you want to be a good father, but sometimes part of being a good father is you have to be stern. You can't you can't be soft. No, fruit snacks aren't gummies. These are gummies are candy. Fruit snacks technically aren't candy. Technically. They're not candy. It's fruit snacks. And yes, I still eat them at 47. Good source of vitamins. Excellent source of vitamins A, C, and E. Gluten free. Made with real fruit. Mind you, I think if I'm running 10, 11 kilometers a day, I can eat whatever I want. Unlike my cousins who have type 2 diabetes, and they eat like Whoppers, buckets of chicken, and pizza every day. And then I offered them something to eat. Like I offered them some of my Jolly Bees chicken. And they like, well, I'm not really supposed to be eating this. Man, stop the cap. I just saw you eat a whole bucket of chicken. Well, I didn't see them, but I would go take the trash out. Is a whole empty bucket of chicken with bones in it in the trash can. Like, stop the cap. Or there's a whole empty pizza box the next day. Stop the cap. You can eat this piece of chicken. I was like, I'm only offering you a piece. I'm not telling you to eat the whole bucket. So my son loves those when he was 9. Yeah, man. See, when I was little, I think the first ones that came out were like it was a but there was like the fruit rolls, but the fruit snacks I remember were like the fruit sharks or the Garfield ones. Those were like the late 80s, early 90s when those came out. Those were dope. I remember like every cartoon or whatever had like some sort of fruit snack attached to it back in like the late 80s, early 90s. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, all of them. You said Sour Patch Kids are the goat. Yeah, but see, I try to avoid actual candy. These I can say these are fruit snacks, so I can technically they're not candy. And as we know, technically correct is the best form of correct. And you say you're really cool for a 47-year-old. Thank you. How old are you, philanthropist? He said for real, best man of the year. Appreciate it, guys. Thank you, man. Speaking of collectibles, I'm trying to sell all of these to like sell these back to the store because I don't want this like the expanded universe Luke Skywalker when he actually became briefly a Sith Lord. Yeah, he became a Sith Lord in the expanded universe for a brief time because he wanted to learn the ways of, of the dark side of the Force. But in order to do so, he had to be under Palpatine. And then Master Jedi Luke from the Last Jedi movie. So that's enough. So just of being based off Last Jedi, I don't want this anymore. Uh, this Iron Man, the Mark 46 from the Civil War movie. I actually do want to keep this, but I want to see if I can get money for it first. But what do you guys think? Should I keep the Iron Man or sell them? Then like some books. I already have two other these, so I don't need a third one. I have one in the Philippines and I have another one here. So I don't need a third one. I just don't. Um, then I have a bunch of these little random ones, random stuff like this. Then I have some action figures, and I'm gonna get store credit for all these things. I'm not gonna get cash for. I'm gonna get store credit so I can buy what I actually want. This Leonardo, Two Face. They came with Arkham Batman. I don't like Arkham Batman because I don't like his I don't like his suit. I don't like the design of the Arkham Batman like suit. So these came together. So I'm gonna sell all of those. Right, what do you guys think? Should I keep the Iron Man? Let me get back to the chat. Say my favorite YouTuber, no cap. Man, seriously, I appreciate it a lot, bro. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you. For real. I really mean it. because there's like literally thousands of other content creators people could watch instead of me. So I appreciate anyone who watches me, even the trolls. Actually, that's why I'll give shout outs to the trolls as well. But like I said, now that I'm monetized, I plan on doing more stuff with the channel as we go along. My wife and I still are planning a reaction video. She's gonna have me reacting to listening to Taylor Swift songs. She's a huge Swiftie fan, so she thought it would be hilarious with me reacting to these songs that I haven't already heard because I've heard a few Taylor Swift songs. So she's gonna make sure these are songs I haven't already heard. So, so I'm planning on doing a reaction video, and um, I'm still gonna do a JKD kickboxing video, like instructional sort of video, the same way I did like a Muay Thai at home video on my members only content. And I don't think anyone is watching that you guys are members, part of the members, but I'll definitely be open to suggestions for new videos because everything in my members only content is like it's basically like me giving like training tips like in martial arts and stuff like that. And I was thinking my next video I might do a how to do a leg KO. And yes, you can do leg knockouts when you hit people right with that low leg tie kick. You can take someone out with it. So I'm thinking I might do that, and then I said I might do a video just showing a bunch of defensive maneuvers like how to bob, weave, slip, duck, parry, snapback, um, leg check, block, stuff like that. So those if I those might be those might be my two next member only videos, but I haven't done any in a while just because there's not enough members yet. Lima says I love his lives. Appreciate it. He said I can pay $75 for all. He said keep all of um he said keep all of y'all, but what y'all want, but I have a friend who would pay millions for action figures and comics. For real? I mean, I don't. So the only I do have some old stuff. Oh, let me. I did promise you guys that when I said I was at my grandmother's house, I would let you see some of my like vintage stuff, right? Some of it's in my storage box, but the ones that's up on my still on my shelf because I had some of my mother bring in some of her books and stuff on the shelves, and the shelves were getting the load bearing wasn't good, so she took down a lot of the stuff and gave me a storage box to put my stuff in. But here's some of my other vintage stuff. Some of it is vintage anyway. Here we go. So the Hulk is from 1978. And that's the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Raphael. That's my favorite turtle, Raphael. These are the old Toy Biz from 1990. Wolverine, my favorite one, with Daredevil, Spider Man, Cap, Iron Man, the Legos superheroes when they first came out. Rick Grimes, that's not vintage. The Gumby's not vintage. That's a recent one. That Egon Spengler, that's vintage. That's actually from the 80s. These aren't vintage either. That's the Nickelodeon Leonardo, my second favorite turtle, of course. That's a truffle from Star Trek. If you don't know what a truffle is, you're not a Trekkie. These are a bunch of classic DVDs. Um, these are classic, the G1 vintage Grimlock. That is vintage Snake Eyes version 2 from 1985. That's the vintage Power Master Optimus Prime from 1988. Vintage 1989 Batmobile. Those lightsabers aren't vintage. This is a flashlight lightsaber for Luke Skywalker, and that's a the little pop-up lightsaber, Luke Skywalker. Neither vintage. The Batman in the back in the case is vintage. So is the Wolverine in the back in the case. That's vintage. Then there's a Sigmund Freud action figure, believe it or not. That's not vintage, but it's still about 24 years old. Um, but I have other vintage stuff. There's in my storage box. Like I have some uh, vintage Star Wars figures from 1981, 1980, 19, no, about 1983. They're about like 1983. As well as some other vintage stuff in there. Vintage He-Man, vintage She-Ra, vintage Lion-O. Uh, some old banks, like a Batman bank from the 60s. Another one that came with the cereal that came out back in 1989. If you remember the Batman cereal that came out in 1989, there was a bank that came out with it. I have that. I got both of those banks from my grandmother before she passed away. Not the one I was living with, my father's mother. She passed away like 8 years ago. I got that from her, and she gave me a classic uh, University of Maryland bourbon thing. So, Flampus says, "Oh, sorry, my internet got me lagged as F." That's cool. Lima said his friend spent $200,000 for a custom built Iron Man suit. Damn, that's a lot. What 200,000? It better actually work. Flampus says, "I'm 20." Okay, I didn't realize you were so young. Luma says, "Oh my God, I have a picture of my son with Taylor Swift, for real." Cause she's like 6 foot tall. She's tall. Like he said, she was super nice and kind. Yeah, I've heard she's actually really nice to her fan base. Like she's like when it comes to her fans, she's really cool. I'm man, if I was able to hook up a meet and greet with her with my wife, I'd be be the best husband in the Philippines. Philanthropist says, "Do you know Krav Maga?" I've taken a few lessons in Krav Maga, but I don't find it particularly effective. The only reason I don't find it particularly effective is because they don't spar. Like it would be way more effective if they sparred, but all they do is all they do is drills. But drills doesn't teach you how to work against someone like physically resisting you and trying to hurt you at the same time. That's why I find it very unrealistic. Plus, they practice these gun disarms, and you don't need Officer Lumen to tell you how unlikely that those gun disarms will work in a real scenario. Like they the problem with gun disarms, even if you're properly trained, is they only work 50% of the time. Something that only works 50% of the time is basically pure chance. If something only works 50% of the time, that's due to pure chance. It's not even worth training it. So I know the gun disarms, but I would never try them unless and only unless I knew the person was going to shoot me regardless of what I do. But then I've seen better things than gun disarms, like it, at least for like semi-automatics, like grabbing the barrel. I mean, well, not the barrel, grabbing the whatever you call it, that part of the gun to keep it from firing, so it misfires. Other than that, I wouldn't try gun disarms. I think Krav Maga is very unrealistic. And the our irony is, how Krav Maga was originally taught to Israeli Defense Forces, it wasn't meant to be for actual self-defense. It was meant to build confidence within the recruits. It was later brought here to America and then marketed as self-defense. But that wasn't originally how it was taught to the Israeli Defense Forces. They taught it as a means of building up confidence in their recruits. And Krav Maga wasn't a specific style. It was basically whatever martial art that the instructors knew. They taught the recruits to build confidence with them in them as far as learning combat. But it wasn't meant to be like a method of self-defense as it was originally taught to recruits in the Israeli Defense Force. And when it was brought here, it was marketed as such, and I find that a bit dubious. Like I said, it can be effective if you use it in sparring and competition, because there are a few people who actually have Krav Maga gyms, and they actually do sparring and they enter competitions. Those folks, yeah, I would learn from them, but the stuff that I've seen is is pretty much Bushido. Uh, Officer Luna says, but I had to pay $200,000 for backstage. He said, not gonna lie, kind of dusty. Yeah. By the way, my I know my collectibles are dusty, but I haven't been in here for like over 3 months. So when I first came here, like last week, I was dusting off everything in my room, like the walls, the pictures, the frames, the TV, the countertops for my dresser and the shelves. Really dusty. So it's still dusty in here, but not as bad as it was like 4 days ago. Uh, Philanthropist says cool figures. Thank you. Like I said, I got more here in this little thing right here. You see all these um, stuff. You can see where it says Batman. Got some stuff in there. The little things underneath are like Star Wars, and I got this vintage uh, Bell Systems phone truck. This is a toy that came out like this came out like 79, 80, 81. I plan on selling that. This is a bunch of my graphic novels in here. Right here, it's a bunch of my little Asian stuff. Some of this I bought here, some of this I've gotten overseas, like this Buddha and the bracelet I got in Bangkok. Some stuff back here I got in Bali, that other Buddha with the little Balinese little music instrument. But this thing right here holds a bunch of single issue comic books. Okay, and there's some more stuff. I, um, the little Filipino jeepney toy I got in the Philippines. The little Chinese, the little metallic balls that's in this case I got here, as well as the laughing Buddha, which is called the Hote, because Hote is not actually Buddha. He was actually a Buddhist monk who was later like worshipped as a deity himself. They call him Hote, or the laughing Buddha. And I have this stuff from Tokyo. I got this tr- uh, little train and this little ninja keychain. And I got some stuff in back of me as well, as you can see. So, um, Officer Lim says I screenshotted and sent it to him. He should reply in like 5 or 6 hours. Oh, okay, cool. Thank you. So I know I'm not gonna get a lot from Third Eye. uh, Philanthropist says Mechazilla catch the starship. Oh, speaking of starship, you guys, you did see the X-wing fighter, right? That's vintage, but it's not vintage. Vintage. It's not. it's not so it's not so within the Star Wars collectors, it's not vintage because it's Power of the Force. The Power of the Force came out in the 90s. These were the Star Wars action figures that had like big muscle builds. So it was like they took the Kenner Star Wars and infused them with the muscles from the Mattel He-Man Masters of the Universe toy line. But the vehicles they kept exactly like the ones from the 70s and 80s. They basically took the same mold from the early 70s and 80s. I mean, the early 80s and late 70s Star Wars vehicles and just redid them. And I bought it because it was cheaper than buying the one that was originally released in like 78. So this one came out when they did the prequels. And this is the Power of the Force X-Wing. But it was significantly cheaper than buying the vintage one. Technically, that's vintage too, but within the Star Wars collectors, only 70, only everything from 77 to 84 is considered vintage. Everything after that is not considered vintage, even though something from 95 is still really old because that was made in 95. Uh, Austin says I gave him my whole Lego 1970s 2000s collection. I got about $7,500. Okay, not bad, not bad at all. He said, I suppose those are for the highly trained. He said, I forgot to give a like. Thank you, appreciate it. Luma says, always like and subscribe. Rookie mistakes. So yeah, so that's pretty much it. So like I said, the original topic uh was Deadpool and Wolverine the last great MCU film. I I would like to think it's not, but I don't see how it's. I don't see anything bringing me to the movies in the next 5 years. Star Wars is dead. Like the Acolyte killed it, and I went to go see all the sequel trilogies. So I know people are gonna say, "Oh, you're just hating on this because it's a woman." No, the sequel trilogy wasn't good, and I went to see every single one of them in the movies. I went to go see um, the 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 what was it the the Force Awakens, then the Last Jedi, and the sky the Skywalker, the Return of Skywalker or whatever. All of them were all of them were progressively worse than the other. Uh, Luma says Deadpool was a W movie, but collabing with Wolverine was a mistake. I don't think so. It was great. People like both the audience. This is where both Ryan Reynolds and the audience like they wanted to see this for so long because I mean we saw them first together in the Wolverine Origins film, but the version of Deadpool they gave us was so unlike the actual comic book character, and he always wanted to visit the character. Um, and then Ryan Reynolds had worked with him previous in Blade Trinity with Wesley Snipes, so he brought that in as well. So to me, it was just perfect. Him working with Blade again, he working with Hugh Jackman again, but an actual Deadpool and actual Wolverine. To me, that was a W. Um, like I said, it's just to me, it seemed like that was just like Endgame was like the high note for the MCU and the Avengers particularly. I think Deadpool and Wolverine was the high note for everything that came from the Fox Marvel movies, the X-Men, the Fantastic Four, Blade, um, the Daredevil Elektra stuff. I'm surprised they didn't bring in Daredevil. I think the only reason they didn't was because Charlie Cox is coming back to Disney with a new Daredevil show, so that's probably why they also didn't bring back Ben, or maybe Ben Affleck just didn't want to do it because it would have been nice to see Ben Affleck reprise Daredevil again. and maybe they make some jokes about it since they had Electra in there. Uh, Robert Connor, what's up? He says a lot of fans for Star Wars think because Acolyte in the last three movies they did were so bad, they're actually rebooting the series. I believe it's called New Order. No, so they're going to do a Ray movie. So here's the thing: they've canceled about six movies. They're never going to do. The Taiki Waititi movie's not happening. The Kevin Feige movie's not happening. The movie by the trilogy that was going to be made by the guy who did Last Jedi is not happening. The the movie that was supposed to be made by the producers of Game of Thrones is not happening. The 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 Disney Plus series that was supposed to be made by Pat whatever Patty whatever her name is that did Wonder Woman, that's not happening. Uh, Especially after they fired Gina Carano, who was going to be like the star of that. Um, Two other films got canceled. So the three films that still are in production, but they haven't even started filming yet, or even have a script. One is Dawn of the Jedi by James Mangold, the one who did Logan and the Wolverine. He's making Dawn of the Jedi about the very first Jedi, although they haven't started filming yet. They have no script. Then they're gonna have a Mandalorian movie that's gonna take all the characters from the Mandoverse, like Mandalorian, like the Mandalorian and the Baby Yoda and and the other characters like the old Bubba Fett and um Ahsoka. Like they're all gonna get their own movie to conclude the Mandoverse within the Disney Plus series. And then the third movie is going to be on Ray, which they call the New Order, but that's not a reboot. It's not going to be a reboot. It's going to be about Ray reestablishing a new Jedi Order after the ending of Rise of Skywalker. The problem with that is it shits on the fact that the new Jedi Order was supposed to be established by Luke as it was in the expanded universe. Um, so a lot of people are like, man, fuck that. They're not gonna go see it. Plus, it's being written by this feminist woman, this super feminist who's never done a movie before. She's only done like documentaries, so she has no previous experience doing sci-fi. Not to mention, technically, Star Wars isn't even sci-fi; it's sci-fantasy, which is why they keep messing it up. They don't understand it's sci-fantasy. Sci-fantasy has always been like futuristic, but about good versus evil. That's sci-fantasy, and they don't understand that. They keep trying to relativize good versus evil in Star Wars, when there's always been a clear-cut good and a clear-cut evil in the original George Lucas Star Wars, because that's what he set it up to be. He wanted Star Wars to be a way of introducing spirituality to young boys. That was always his goal. the fact they don't even the fact that people in Lucasfilm don't even understand the Force has made it patently obvious that they don't need to be making those movies anymore. Lima said Deadpool and Wolverine is catch up in Wolverine. Robert Kind says a lot of people want to see Hulk versus Wolverine. They're not going to give it to us because they got the little soy boy Hulk. Like Professor Hulk was cool for Endgame, but people wanted to see him go back to the Green Hulk, and it seems like they're not going to give us that that world breaker Hulk that we wanted. Everyone wanted to see a live action version of World Breaker Hulk, and they're never going to give us that. Like they gave us a brief clip, like they gave us a brief little CGI glimpse of Wolverine versus Hulk in the Deadpool movie, where he went to fight the uh the Wolverine from the original uh comics when he wore the classic brown and yellow outfit. Then they just gave us like a brief glimpse of the Hulk, but obviously they didn't give us, the actual Hulk in the movie. Then I don't think they're gonna give us that. I don't think it's gonna happen unless it's for Secret Wars. It's possible in Secret Wars. Anything's. I'll say this with the Russell brothers. They're the only ones I trust to do a good MCU film, and James Gunn. But James Gunn left to run DC, the DC films, DC Studios. He's running DC Studios, and they fired Joss Whedon after all the alleged harassment and stuff. So they no longer have Joss Whedon. They no longer have James Gunn. So you only have Russell brothers, who were the best of the the filmmakers for the MCU. With them, anything is possible. You never know. They could give us a Wolverine versus Hulk, and they could bring back Chris Evans and Steve Rogers. They could bring back Robert Downey Jr. not only as Doctor Doom but as Iron Man as well for Secret Wars. They could bring back the original cast of the Avengers for the Secret Wars, like everyone: Black Widow, Nick Fury, um, Hawkeye. By the way, they just made the new female Hawkeye now non-binary, so they're still not learning their lesson on that woke shit. But yeah, they could bring back the original Avengers for Secret Wars. We don't know because Secret Wars should be like the biggest thing. It should be like twice as epic as Endgame. Um, Off Limits says ketchup and mustard. You know what? I know that's a joke, but that would actually be a really clever way of mark of if Marvel really wanted to, they could actually do that. Like have a ketchup and mustard pack and have the ketchup bottle basically like a Deadpool and the mustard bottle of Wolverine. That would actually be kind of clever. Philanthropist says Spider-Man versus Toad, I guess. TOA. You talking about Toad? But I say Toad was part of the Brotherhood of Mutants. I don't think he really fought against Spider-Man. Officer Loomis is not gonna lie. If DC collab with Marvel, it might start an online 12 to 40 war. Well, they they have worked together on. They have assisted each other on projects, though. I'll say that much. So, um, especially with James Gunn, um, they helped DC Studios help James Gunn finish um, finish the what's those guys with what's the group guys, the space going people in Marvel. He helped them do that third movie, and so DC Studios helped them do that, and Marvel had helped them work on like stuff like the Justice League and stuff like that. So they've actually done some collaborations where they've helped each other. But if you mean if they're gonna do like a crossover film, that would be huge if they ever do a crossover film. I'm pretty sure that the execs on both sides have been considering it because think about it, both DC films and Marvel films have been floundering in the last 5 years. I'm pretty sure execs on both sides have been talking about the possibility of doing a crossover film one of these days. It would be huge. Robert Kine says, but Hugh Jackman is only going to come back for Secret Wars and then he's done. We need a new Wolverine. No, at some point, just let it go. Like, I mean, yeah, they might reprise the role later on, but we pretty much only want Hugh Jackman. Although we did get to see Henry Cavill as Wolverine, that was pretty dope. Seeing him as Wolverine. And I love the fact they gave us a comic book accurate Wolverine. That was so hilarious, showing how small he would actually be. Because in the comics, um, Wolverine is actually like only 5'4". So they did so giving us a comic book accurate version of Wolverine was hilarious. That was hilarious. John Doe says, "What's up? What's going on?" Uh, Robert Connor says, "Yeah, Secret Wars. If they see him put on that Iron Man suit, that movie theater is going to erupt." Word. Like I said, the best thing they could do is bring back the original Avengers cast and basically pay them whatever they want. They've already paid Robert Downey Jr. whatever he wants to get him to come back to the MCU as Doctor Doom. I mean, so I'll say if they're that desperate, because I'm already telling you right now, you guys can quote me today, right now. What time is it? It's 10:24 p.m. on October 14th. No, I'm sorry, October Tuesday, October 15th at 10:24 p.m. Captain the new Captain America, a Brave New World is going to flop. I'm telling you now. Thunderbolts, that's going to flop. Both of those are going to flop. I'm telling you both. I'm telling you that now. Both of those movies are going to flop. So they're going by the when those two movies flop, and we already see Agatha All Along is floundering on Disney Plus right now. No one's watching that shit. So have any of you watched Agatha All Along? Pretty sure no one has. If you have, correct me on that. But they're gonna be so desperate when Captain America: Brave New World flops and Thunderbolts flops right afterwards. That one, they're gonna throw a lot of money at Tom Holland to do a fourth Spider-Man movie because he's already contracted to do so. To do a he's been contracted 2 years ago to do a fourth Spider-Man movie and like I think two appearances in other movies that aren't his own that but are part of the MCU. So I think they're gonna throw a lot of money at Tom Holland to keep to his contract to make that fourth because I don't know if you guys were aware, but last year Tom Holland said he was taking a break from Hollywood. So they're gonna have to pay him a lot of a lot of money to come back to honor his contract to do those three movies. He has to do a fourth Spider-Man movie and two appearances in other MCU films. Um, and I'm thinking those two appearances are going to be, you know, the Doctor Doom movie and the Secret Wars movie. I'm pretty sure he's going to be in both of those. So they're going to throw a lot of money at the original Avengers cast to come back. Nick Fury, Captain America, Steve Rogers, Iron Man, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Thor, and Hulk. I expect to see them in Secret Wars. If they are all in Secret Wars, I will go see it. Unless, but unless they are in Secret Wars, I'm not going to see it. I'll just wait till it come on digital and I'll watch it for free on my Fire Stick. But there's nothing coming out in the next 2 years that I want to see. And I'm not even talking about MCU. I'm also talking about the DCU as well. The DC Cinematic Universe, DCU. There's nothing coming out from Star Wars I want to see. The only thing I might see is Dawn of the Jedi by James Mangold. But if the Dawn, if in Dawn of the Jedi they make the original Jedi whoever appeared to be a woman, I'm not watching it because I have a sneaking suspicion they're gonna make the first Jedi a woman. I have a strong, I sense a disturbance in the Force. That disturbance in the Force that I sense is that they're gonna try to make the first Jedi a woman and probably gay. um, sorry, I'm missing these comments. Uh, Philanthropist says, yeah, Disney making some woke shit lately. That MF bought Disney to make it woke too. Right? Disney has destroyed every major IP, and the problem with that is they bought these IPs for the very reason that these IPs were 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 for men, and they feminized them, which doesn't make sense because Disney had a problem with having a male audience before they bought Marvel, before they bought Star Wars, and they feminized or made into the Rainbow Coalition every major IP they did. They ruined Pixar. How do you ruin Pixar? They've ruined Lucasfilm, like, and every every IP under Lucasfilm they ruined. Star Wars, Indiana Jones, Willow. How do you ruin Willow? Willow had a niche audience. There was no reason to do what they did to Willow. They destroyed Willow. Um, they they bought Doctor Who and ruined it. Um, they bought Marvel, and for the first, you know, 10 years, it was great. Then after Endgame, they just completely ruined it. There was some hits and misses within that 10 years. Um, but it was more hits than misses. Now it's been more misses than hits. Like we can count on one hand all the hits since 2019. Spider-Man: No Way Home. Um, got the Guardians of the Galaxy Part 3. Again, that's because James Gunn was on that. Um, and Deadpool and Wolverine. Wait, am I missing one? Yeah, those are the only three since 2019. So for the last 5 years, they've had more misses than hits. I'll also give them, if we talk about the TV shows, um, I'll give them Loki and WandaVision, because WandaVision was actually unique. At least the first 2/3 of the show, and then the very end of it got whack. But the first 2/3 of the show, when it was showing her her life living vicariously through sitcoms from the 50s and 60s and 70s, that was genius. That was dope. And then when they got into like the actual meat and bones, they just ruined it. But WandaVision was good. Loki was good as far as the series were, but they weren't on the level of like Daredevil, Punisher, and Luke Cage. But Loki and WandaVision was still pretty good. But more misses than hits in the last 5 years, whereas in the first 10 years, it was more hits than misses. Star Wars is nothing but has been nothing but misses. The only thing they've done with since being acquired by Disney 12 years ago was the comic books. The comic books were great up until 5 years ago. Um, and that one film, uh, Rogue One. Rogue One was the only good one they did. The Force Awakens was okay, but to me they ruined it. How they like it was obvious that the black dude was force sensitive, and they just completely wrote that off in the next movie. And they destroyed Luke's legacy in Last Jedi. So, and anyway, I'm not gonna keep harping on that. All that's to say, I don't see me going to movies to see anything within the next 5 years. I guess within the next 5 years, we'll have a new James Bond, and we'll get the final end to the Mission Impossible films. Tom Cruise got one last one to finish. Depending on who becomes the new James Bond, I might see that if they don't ruin that with being woke. And I might go see the last Mission Impossible in the theaters. But other than that, I don't see any movies appealing to me with this 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 slated to come out in the next few years. Luna says Spider Man is getting too predictable. Sorry, guys. He says Spider. Yeah, Spider Man 4. They're gonna have to do something different. I think it is though, because if you remember the first two and how the third one ends, the third one ends with him like no longer connected to the Tony Stark suit, so he no longer has the Iron Spider suit. He no longer has that, and basically Doctor Strange rewritten it where no one remembers him anymore. So Spider-Man 4 is going to be completely different. He's going to have to like rebuild his whole knowledge of people knowing he was Spider-Man. Like, but they're not going to know everything he did in the past that he helped save the universe. So I think Spider-Man 4 won't be predictable at all, because he's starting off as a street level hero again, instead of as a like a instead of at a he won't he's not on that Avengers level anymore. He's now just a street level hero. So I think it will be different. Oh, I, I don't think you guys saw that little Lego Jedi Luke Jedi back there. Lego Luke Jedi. And this is the other thing I got from my grandmother. It's like bourbon or something in there. That picture of me is actually made by ex girlfriend who's actually like a pretty prominent artist now. So I kept that because it might end up being worth money if she gets really famous. Hopefully she does. Plus, she was a really good person. Here's some more stuff. This actually lights up. This little Manning. They call it Menki no Neki, whatever you call that. The waving cat. The little Lego mini Batwing, little bat double bladed bat knife. It's actually sharp though. And some Funko stuff. Stanley, um, Luke, from Empire Strikes Back. Luke, R2, because you get Luke, you gotta have R2. Super Friends, Batman, and Batman 1989. Classic Omega Brain Yo-Yo. It's not the original from the 80s, but it's like a remake that came out in the 2000s. But it's a Omega Brain Yo-Yo because it like automatically does when you work it. It automatically does tricks for you. Like this is not the original Rubik's. This is like one of the new ones you can buy at Hallmark, and like a classic Duncan Yo-Yo. So I want some original crazy phone. If you guys remember the little bath phone they used to sell back in the 80s and 90s, bought one of those. But yeah, So Officer Loomis is like, bro, just give up already. He said, at this point, I'm finna pull out the bug spray. Like I said, I don't think it's gonna be. I think Spider-Man 4 is not gonna be predictable because I don't. For one, I think it's gonna be a different director than the first three movies. Actually, I would prefer them keep the same director from the first three movies. But if they don't, I don't want them to get a new person who has no previous experience with superhero movies. I'm scared for the fourth movie they're gonna bring in a newbie and he's gonna mess it up. Tom Holland's the best. I still like what's his name from the original movies the best. They were supposed to give him a fourth movie as well. Like I know there was talks with Sony to make another, either do a third movie with Andrew Garfield or do a fourth movie with Toby Maguire. I will welcome that. Not not a Tom Holland movie, just Toby Maguire doing a Spider-Man 4. Because remember, there was originally supposed to be a Spider-Man 4, and it got canceled because Spider-Man 3 didn't do too well back in 2003. So 2000? No, I'm sorry, in 2007 when Spider-Man 3 came out, didn't do too well, so they canceled Spider-Man 4. And then there was the Amazing Spider-Man with Andrew Garfield. After part 2 didn't do too well, they canceled part 3. So they could possibly give them a new movie. Philanthropist says test one. He said, "Oh, oh, why you why you time him out? He was he that was that's the same guy, Lumen, real life philanthropist. He was trying to come back under his original username. He wasn't trolling. He was trying. That's real life philanthropist. The philanthropist and real life philanthropist, they're the same guy. He was just trying to see if he could come back in under his original username. But do you? All right. I know I've talked a lot. Do you guys know of any upcoming movies that's going to be worth seeing in the theaters? Like, I mean, worth going to spend money on. Not like they're going to be good, but like worth going to see in the movies. Like, Joker 2 is so bad right now. People have been going to the movies or asking for a refund. If you don't mind, can I? Would Would you mind me spoiling Joker 2 and why people are so unhappy with it? Because I'll tell you right away why people hate it so much. Did you? Are you planning on seeing it? Because if so, I'm not going to spoil it. Okay, so the reason why it's so bad is one. So I'm gonna give you the two minor reasons. I'm gonna give you the major reason. So one minor reason is coming into the second movie, you're expecting him to be fully fledged Joker, but now he's just back to being Arthur Fleck again in Arkham Asylum. And he's basically most of the movie is just showing him being on trial for the murders he committed in the first movie. Also, Harlequin isn't really Harlequin. She's Lee Kinzel. She's another Arkham patient locked up with him. Who and it's not this whole thing where she's doting on him like Harlequin used to dote on Joker. It's not like that. It's Not like that at all. Third, all the musical scenes in a movie are basically imaginations in his head. But the major reason most people are pissed off is they find out that he's not really the Joker. He's just Arthur Fleck. He gets killed at the end of the movie by presumably the real Joker. And that's how the movie ends. So you watch two whole movies about a man who's not even really the Joker. He's just Arthur Fleck. And that pissed people so bad, pissed off people so badly they're demanding refunds. He's just Arthur Fleck. He's not the actual Joker. And you find that out at the end of the at the end of the movie when he gets killed. He was never the Joker. That's why people are pissed. So I hope that saves people $25. Actually 50 if you were, you know, that probably saved you $100 if you were taking someone with you and you're buying refreshments or, and snacks and drinks and stuff like that. That probably just saved you $100. If you still want to see it, watch it on digital. It's actually going to be on digital October 25th. That's how poorly it's done. It came out October 4th, and it's going to be on digital October 25th. Meanwhile, Deadpool and Wolverine came out on digital last week, and that came out like late July, July 26th, if I'm not mistaken. So it took them until October to release that on digital, and it's still in the theaters because I just literally saw Deadpool and Wolverine today in the theaters, and it's October 15th, and it's been in the theater since late July, and it just went to digital last week. Meanwhile, meanwhile, by next week, Joker 2 is going to be, or Joker of Folie à Deux, um, is going to be out in digital on October 25th. But by the way, Folie à Deux is an actual psychiatric disorder. It means it means um, it means basically a delusion shared by two people in common. Folie à deux, which literally means a mistake of two. So it's a derangement. It's a mental derangement shared by two people at the same time. It's a type of somatoform disorder. He said, "Don't worry, I have my own movie theater." Oh, yeah, one of those like my cousin had one. I think she still has it. If she does, it's in storage because she obviously doesn't have the space to put in my grandmother's house. But she had her own little home box office. She even had like a little like traditional popcorn maker type thing. So I remember the places she lived, she would set up her own little movie theater inside her house. And she was like, "Hey, when I come home from work," she said, "instead of going to the movie, she's like, I'll just watch my own movies." Like she'll put it on this on like the little pull down screen, and she has like the film projector, and she had the low the the old fashioned popcorn maker. Balloon says, "I use my Movie Box Pro, no ads, play on every platform, mobile, PC, TV, Instagram, LOL." Put some porn on that bad boy. No, I'm playing. I'm playing. Don't do that. But nah, yeah, man, that sounds like that's what's up. I mean, for me, I just enjoy the theater experience. That's why I was like, I gotta go see Deadpool and Wolverine in the movies before it leaves the theaters, because the place up the street, it 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 hasn't like they stopped showing it there like 2 weeks ago. So I went, farther out to this place called Owens Mills where I used to work, to the theater there. It was a nicer theater anyway, and I was like, this is good to see it at a nice theater because, like I said, I don't plan on seeing anything in the theaters for like the next 3 years. There's nothing coming out within the next 3 years that's gonna say make me want to go to the movies, unless it's overseas. Now, if I'm hopefully I should be back in the Philippines by then, so I'll probably go see some like local films from there in the theaters. But there's nothing coming out of Hollywood that I'm spending money to see within the next 3 years. Not from Marvel, not from Star Wars, not from DC, not from Star Trek, because Star Trek hasn't made a movie in I don't know how many years. Not from Pixar. Uh, yeah, so may, maybe Mission Impossible because it's gonna be the very last one. I might watch that, and I don't think there's gonna be another James Bond movie for like at least another 4 or 5 years. Dunjo says Harris. Excuse me. Dunjo Harris says hello. What's up, Dunjo? He said, "Yo, what? By the way, Minecraft movie is going to be shit." I didn't know there was going to be a Minecraft movie. See, that's what I was saying. That's why I was asking folks what new movies are planning on coming out. I know they got the Terrifier 3 coming out, but honestly, I've never seen one or two. I didn't even know that was a movie. I thought that guy in the evil clown thing. I thought that was just something on TV. I didn't know that was based on a movie called The Terrifier. But yeah, there's nothing in the theaters within the next 3 years gonna bring me. And even if I did want to see Dawn of the Jedi, they don't even have a script for that yet. So it's gonna be at least 4 or 5 years before that comes out in the movies. The Star Wars Ray Palpatine or Ray Skywalker, she's really just Ray Palpatine, but the new Ray Skywalker film called a new Jedi Order, they've put that on hold. So that's probably gonna be another 4 or 5 years before that movie gets made. So there's nothing within the next 3 years that's gonna bring me to the movies, except for the possibility of Secret Wars, if and only if they bring back the original Avengers cast. I'll go see Secret Wars if and only if they bring back the original Avengers cast and the last Mission Impossible. That's probably it. I've heard rumors they're going to make another Top Gun movie, a Top Gun 3, but I haven't heard that they got a script for that yet. I'm going to actually go on Google Gemini to check that out. But as far as I've heard, I haven't heard of there actually being a working script for Top Gun 3. But um, Luma says, wait, I gotta go. I have to respond to a suspicious activity call. See ya. That's no problem, man. I'm about to end this pretty soon anyway. Since I have like a low viewership. um, take care, man. Be safe. All right, bro. All right, guys. So I don't know who's still here rocking with me, but again, can anyone tell me what movies are coming out within the next 2 years? Because I don't know if anything coming out that's gonna make me come back to the movies. I'm wondering if any of you know of any. He said, I can't wait for next stream. Thanks. Yeah, next stream is gonna be tomorrow, and I'm also working on some like pre-recorded videos too for this week. I'm gonna have some like more red pill type stuff I'll talk about this week. But I appreciate it, man. But yeah, guys, I'm about to be out. Like I say, unless anyone has any other further comments as far as MCU films, they want to talk about what they saw in Deadpool Wolverine with all the cameos like Elektra, Blade, Johnny Storm from Fantastic Four, Toad, Sabretooth, Uh, um, Professor X's evil twin sister. She's an actual character, by the way, guys. They didn't make that up for the movie. She's an actual character. Um, Also, all those Deadpool variants, most of them were real. Like there's a lady Deadpool. There's the uh, there's a dog pool. There's a kid Deadpool. Um, who else was in it? Other cameos. Oh, X-23, um, Wolverine's daughter. We love. I love seeing her now grown. And my homeboy was talking about how hot she is now. I'm like, yeah, she is. She is. So Taylor says, I hope I'm not too late. Yeah, I'm about to end this, so a little late, unfortunately. But you can catch this on the replay. Um, I was asking people, I said, do they know of any movies coming out within the next 2 years? I'm old for it. All right. You've already been challenging me to fights and dumb shit like that, and I let it slide. But now I'm just going to ban you. Sayonara. What a retard. They need to keep him back across the border. Anyway, all right, guys, I'm out. Like I said, unless someone wanted to convince me that there's going to be movies worth seeing in the next few years, but I'm pretty sure Deadpool Wolverine was the last movie I'm going to see for a while now, unless I watch a local Philippine movie overseas, because every year over there they have like a film. They sort of have like a film fest where a lot of the local filmmakers, their movies are put out in like the AMC movie theaters and stuff like that across the Philippines for people to see. Because I saw a few good ones that you can watch on Netflix here. Like Shargao, that was a pretty good one. This one, I can't remember the name of it, but it was like the first uh, Filipino film I watched, based on this guy who was a comedian in real life. He played this character where he's living in Japan as a Filipino and he meets another Filipina, and there's sort of a sad twist at the end and all this sort of stuff. But it was actually a good film. So they got a lot of good independent films overseas worth seeing, but I don't see myself seeing anything coming out of Hollywood within the next few years, with the possible exception of Mission Impossible and a possible exception of Secret Wars, if they bring back the original Avengers cast. Having said that, I only see one person active, so this is where I bid you guys adieu, and don't go see Joker Folly. I do. Okay. All right, guys. Bye.